smash the like button and subscribe.
Forgot her name.
A woman.
Fuck, I forgot to.
She's a woman.
The woman,
Kamala Harris.
Eugene?
Or E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah, Eugene. Why do you think a billionaire or millionaire who could get any girl he wants, has to finger her unconsensually in like a J.C. Penney or whatever it was?
Bergdorf Goodman. Because he believes that any woman wants him, right? And that no matter what, he can do whatever he wants. He quite literally has bragged about grabbing women by the vagina without asking, because he can just do whatever he wants because he thinks every woman wants him, which is not true. And I'm demonstrating how that specific power that he believes that he has, right, will want him to just be able to use it in any circumstance. He believes that he has this power and he can use it in any circumstance, and that every person wants him, and it inevitably leads to circumstances where he is going to literally assault someone without their consent. I think that's very reasonable to believe. Plus, it's not just one scenario. He's been accused by over 27 plus women of misconduct. In order for you to believe that he isn't like a abuser or a predator, you literally have to believe that every single one of the 27 women are lying.
I'm sure not every single 27, but I'm sure a majority of them. You know, as a rich man and I'm sure he has strong will, like, and if a woman does not get what she wants, she's gonna lie about certain things, and that's just inevitable.
So you believe all 27 plus women are going to lie in that scenario,
didn't,
rather than believing that the pathological liar would lie out of self-preservation.
I just said I'm sure he has done certain things like that.
So if you're sure that he's done certain things like that, then isn't that a disqualifier?
But I'm just saying, what's her name? Eugene? Eugene. Like, there was just physically no reason at all. Like, it's just physically impossible. And the fact that he didn't
is not physically impossible. He said that he wouldn't have sexually abused her because she's quote unquote not his type, but then in a deposition mistook her with his ex-wife.
But why didn't he face any like jail time or anything for this?
Because it was in a civil case, not a criminal case, because of the statute of limitations, which says after a certain amount of years, you can't try your abuser accountable in a criminal court, regardless of the amount of evidence.
Okay, and then I don't know. Well, I'm not saying Trump is a good guy, but from testimonies and things that I've heard him seen, he's been helping the economy. So
nope, practically every metric of the economy is worse off since Trump got in office. Plus, that's a complete pivot to the point that we're talking about in terms of whether or not Donald Trump has done this. Donald Trump has a pattern of behavior of engaging in misconduct, of engaging in sexual abuse, and being accused of it, and literally even being held liable of it. Just because it wasn't in a criminal case does not mean it's not legitimate, right? I think someone, if they've been held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman, or criminally convicted of sexually abusing a woman, or any person, it should be illegal for them to run for president of the United States. Can you agree with me there?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, well then that would make it illegal for Trump to run for president of the United States.
Okay, well this is his last term, so.
But like, I'm just saying, the point that I'm trying to get this conversation to is essentially trying to get you to the point of you should have voted differently than you did.
Well,
that you made the wrong decision. That's really the only thing I'm trying to get you to realize right now.
Yo, Parker.
Mm-hmm.
What? Like, why would she wait that long? Like, she got. When did she? When did Donald Trump allegedly
abused her?
sex
1995 to 1996. Why did it take her so long to come out? Well, because for many victims, it takes them decades based upon the trauma, based upon the fact that people who are victims are stigmatized and not believed, based upon the fact that it's incredibly hard to hold these people accountable, given the fact that it can lead to harassment targeted towards them. It could hurt their career opportunities in the future, right? And it can literally be very, very harmful to fight out that battle and traumatizing to do so.
Well, yeah, I get that, but like, why did she
why once they're running for president? Well, this was when he
Yes.
was already president. She accused him in 2019 because it was after her parents died. She didn't want her parents to have to deal with all these circumstances or hear about these things. But it's also very reasonable to see, like, oh, my abuser is about to literally be in the position of presidency, or is in the position of presidency, and they have a reputation where they're viewed in a positive light, and we don't want them viewed in that positive light. For example, this happened recently with Eric Swalwell, right? He was accused right
I don't know who
prior
that
to
is.
the primary. He's a Democrat in the gubernatorial race, or was in the gubernatorial race for the California race for governor, and he got completely removed from the race and dropped out even left government because of the fact that he was accused by multiple people, which he should have left in that scenario. And a lot of people, or at least not a lot, but some people did claim specifically that oh, this is bad timing. If it's MAGA or someone trying to go after him, it's bad timing right before an election or something like that. And to me, it makes even more sense for a victim to come out in that scenario because they don't want the person who did this to them to be able to get into a position of power like that, or to be respected in a position of power like that, or to continue to stay in a position of power like that.
But
And
don't you think that he wouldn't have? I think that she told earlier than that he wouldn't have even get a chance to run.
what? Repeat what you said?
If I think that if she told any earlier, he wouldn't have even gotten a chance to run for president. You
Oh,
can
why didn't
text.
she do this before 2016?
No, no, I said that. I think that if she were to tell before, like in the past, he wouldn't have even gotten a chance to run for president.
And maybe that's true, but she also didn't know that that was going to happen and didn't know that he was going to become president. Even when he originally ran, he wasn't treated seriously. He gained a lot of support very quickly, right? And so, I mean, that's something that a victim probably would have to grapple with. And that's trauma that they have to work through. And also, like, let me just clarify. Again, it was her parents because she didn't want her parents to have to deal with all these circumstances. So,
I
like, that
mean,
was the explicit reason for her. And like, I just want to be very clear. Like, she is incredibly understanding of the type of society that we live in and the fact that victims aren't believed. She's hyper aware of that, especially as a victim herself. So
well,
all of these things and these stigmas that exist in society prevent you from coming out in the first place. And you are absolutely able to have more of a story to come out, specifically um, if the person is running for president. Like, that's obvious. And even so, there were plenty of people that came out prior to 2016. Like, so I just like I think that like the idea that oh it took her a long time to come out actually makes sense. Like for example, there were multiple friends that she told at the time that this happened to her. So if she made it up, why did she tell her friends decades ago and then wait decades to then try to make money off of them later on? That doesn't make any sense, right?
wasn't he already like a millionaire before he ran for
Yeah, so if
president?
she was trying to make money off of them, wouldn't she have tried to do it back then?
No, he's. I think he got a lot more money after he became president. Like after
That
all
that is
those
true,
years,
but how would she have known that back then?
she didn't.
Exactly. So the point that I'm making is that she told her friends that she was a decades ago, like literally in 1985, 1996 after it happened. And her friends testified on that under oath. So quite literally under the threat of perjury.
Oh,
So that tells us that she didn't just make it up. Because of
well,
the
I
fact that
mean,
that demonstrates that by the way, you just got a flag, so I do have to go on to the next person. Or that
no,
was actually that was
wait,
the last
wait.
that was the last person. I apologize.
Oh,
You're good.
okay, okay, okay.
You're good. So, like, do you understand the point that I'm making? Like, if she was trying to just make money from it, she wouldn't have waited decades. She would have done it originally.
But I think the reason why most people aren't believing her is because of her story.
Well, do you think that she just needed money now instead of later? If she was doing it for money, like if she didn't need money then, why would she just make up that excuse then? But if she needed money now,
She
it would
she
need
doesn't need
more
money
reason.
now, and she's a millionaire.
Well, like I was saying, uh, I think that most people didn't believe her because of her story.
Yeah, but like, can you mention one part of her story that you don't believe?
Well, I don't. You can fact check me on this one, but I think that the dress that she was wearing, that Donald Trump allegedly assaulting her with, wasn't even out at that time,
That's just not true. The Donna Karen dress came out in the 80s.
and you said that
Did
happened
you
in.
say it happened in the 70s?
Nope. Happened 1995, 1996. The dress came out in the 80s. That dress had been out for a while. Just not true. And also, like, in terms of the dress, there was unidentified male DNA on it. It was tested, proven to be unidentified male DNA. Trump was given multiple years to give up his DNA. If he never met her, why didn't he give up his DNA to prove that he wasn't at the scene of the crime?
I don't know, but I know that when he
Exactly.
did,
That's something a
but
guilty
but
person would
but I
do, right?
but,
Isn't that exactly what a guilty person would do? Because if he
but
never
Or
met her, he can literally save his reputation and save himself tens of millions of dollars.
well, but when he was ready to give up his DNA, they rejected it.
That was after the time slot allotted, though. The
Yeah, but
judge specifically talked about how he did that to extend how long the case would take, not because he
yeah,
was
but
actually legitimately trying to take in his DNA.
even if it
He had, dude. By the way, he had multiple years to give up his DNA.
But still, though,
Like, I'm
even
sorry,
when
if you turn in your assignment after it's due, when the teacher told you they wouldn't accept it after the due date, are you really going to accept it or expect it to be accepted?
no,
You
but
cannot
you can do
relate.
makeups. I mean, that's what
Tell
You
me how
can't
that's
relate
different.
though,
Tell me how that's different.
because this is justice. It's not a grade going into an
Yeah,
assignment.
but you understand that specifically it's dependent upon how long these cases take, that they obviously are
But
going to know that they're going to take that into consideration. Now, again, if he was going to give up his DNA, he would have done so within the time slot allotted. He clearly was doing that to make the case take longer. He was
I
doing
mean,
whatever he can to make it take longer. And they weren't
like
going to play into that.
those comparisons to me kind of have no correlation. But
Right.
like I was saying,
How? How? It makes total
Because
sense.
justice, rape,
You no,
and all those
let me
things.
explain. Let me explain because you guys apparently can't put two and two together. Okay, literally, you have a certain time slot allotted where you can specifically give it in. You know that if you give it in later than this, it won't be accepted. If you don't send it in with the time slot allotted, why would you expect it to be accepted? If you
but
knew that it wasn't going to be accepted after this point, it's common sense, bro.
I mean, but that's something more serious than just what the example that you gave me with the assignment. I mean, they were still they could have still did it. They could have still took his DNA and see what happened, but they rejected it. Like
No,
the
they can't
assignment.
because it's literally after the point in which where they specifically set up where it was allowed, and the judge said no because of the fact that it was after the time slot allotted and that it was specifically to extend how long the case would take.
So you're saying she doesn't deserve justice just because it took long?
I think they should have accepted it, but I'm telling you, they're not going to accept it based upon the legal processes because of what Donald Trump was doing to stall the case. I don't know why this is so complicated to you guys. I think it should have been different. There's so many things about the law I think should be different. Absolutely, they should have accepted to prove that it was him that was at the scene of the crime. Absolutely. But they didn't because of the fact that it was after the time slot allotted, which he knew would have happened. So they explicitly tried to do that to make it take even longer, right? Which he knew wouldn't be accepted. So he didn't give up his DNA because he knew it would be accepted, so he could test it because it would show that he wasn't the scene of the crime. He did it for a completely other motivation. So you can't claim that was his motivation. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's clearly guilty behavior. You guys know it's guilty behavior. Why are you guys trying to defend this? 27 plus people have accused this guy of sexual misconduct. He bragged about grabbing women by the vagina without asking. He's bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent, where two 18-year-olds came out.
When?
So there were 4 girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms.
I've already seen
2005.
that.
Wait,
I've seen that
but
clip, and
yeah,
he never said he
yeah,
looked
he never
into
said
it.
he was in the dressing
Right.
rooms though.
He
Oh,
never
what'd you watch
clarif-
Cam Higbee say that? He explained what a dressing room is. Let me explain this to you, right? If I tell you specifically that I literally took a test with a teacher in a classroom, would you tell me that I was literally going to school?
Well, he
Would it
said
make
that he
sense? Would
went
it make sense that I would say that I was at school?
Yeah, but he said that he went backstage. He never said that he was
Wait, if
going
I
to
Yeah,
told
he
you I
never-
was okay, so let me clarify. Backstage, no men are around. They're changing in naked. Is that not a dressing room? The victims came out, said it was a dressing room as well. Is that not a dressing room? I'm sorry.
But
He can describe Can you describe to me a dressing room without using the word dressing room?
Obviously, no, because you can't use the same word in what you're
Describe
trying
to
to
me what a
explain.
dressing room is without using the words dressing in room.
I mean, I could, but I wouldn't use the word backstage in it.
Yes, you would. You would say backstage. You would say
Well,
people
how
are
are you gonna tell
getting
me?
ready or they're getting dressed, right? You would say some people would be naked. You would say if it's a women's dressing room, no men are around.
Well, Donald Trump didn't say that the women in there were naked, so
He
I don't
did.
really know what
No, so I have a question. Are you naked if you have no clothes on?
Well, he didn't say that they had clothes on, but he said they were getting dressed.
Okay,
Those are two
let me ask you
completely
this
different
question.
things.
Are you naked if you have no clothes on?
Yeah.
Okay, now listen to this.
To do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that. Okay,
So-
they're standing there with no clothes. dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes.
What was he saying there?
He didn't. Well, you think there's a reason why he didn't finish his sentence?
What was he saying there?
I don't know. He didn't finish his sentence, so I couldn't really tell you.
Okay. Leonardo, what do you think? What was he saying there?
I don't know. He didn't finish his sentence.
You know you're joking. Tell me what you actually think.
I really can't tell what he was referring to.
Okay. So they're standing there with no clothes on.
Oh, I didn't hear clothes.
Did you hear clothes?
Could have been standing there with clubs. I don't know.
They're standing there with no clubs.
I really don't know. They did like.
Let's
you know
play
how
it
many-
back one more time. Let's really. You don't know. You guys are so annoying.
Inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? You know, they're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these
All I hear is
incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So he gets away with doing these things. So he's not supposed to be there, right? There's no men around.
Well, he is supposed to be there.
They're
because he's supposed to be
changing
checking.
and naked. They had no clothes on. You guys are dishonest as right? And you guys are going to say that's not a changing room. When, by the way, victims came out and said that Donald Trump would barge into these changing rooms. Okay? You guys are dishonest. By the way, these are Cam Higbee viewers. You watched that one video of Cam Higbee where he said, he actually, didn't say dressing room, and you guys run with that. It's so funny. I never would hear this argument prior to Cam making that video. Cam made the video, and I constantly hear that shit. You guys just literally yap and repeat bullshit talking points that have no basis. And I can clearly prove them wrong with these basic questions. Can you guys identify and acknowledge now and be honest that he clearly was saying in that context, no clothes on? Or are you guys going to continue to be dishonest for no reason?
Well, let's say he did mean that.
No, we're not saying let's say he did. What do you think?
I think if he did, he's wrong. Yeah.
No, not if
But
he did. What do you think he did in that scenario? What do you think he said?
All I hear is clip. So I don't really know.
So what do you think he said?
I mean, I could only assume clothes, but
Okay, so you do assume that.
yeah, but it's an assumption.
Okay,
You know
so-
how many words that could start with clip?
So then tell me, give me another example of a genuine word you think it could be.
My vocabulary isn't the most expanded, but I know there's millions of words that have that same starting sound.
Go ahead. I'll give you time to think about it while I talk to the other guy.
Okay.
Do you have an idea? Are you going to be genuine now? Hello? Mark, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah.
All right, like I was saying, I think that he was gonna say that they're standing there with no clue that he's there, cause start with club.
Let's listen back.
And therefore I'm inspecting it. You know, go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes.
Club.
Yeah,
Let me just clarify.
No, clue.
Wait.
He has an accent. to
Cla
it, though.
yeah.
or clue?
No,
Can you say cla? Cla is definitely not clue.
No, because he has an accent. He
Clue,
goes,
cla, clue, cla, clue, cla, clue, cla, clue. Different words, buddy. Try again.
No, it's because he has an accent.
Shut the up. No, he doesn't.
We both.
You guys
So
both.
are you
Okay,
so
hold
are
up.
you
Hold up.
saying
Pause
you
for a
don't have
second.
an
Are you guys Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hand on the Bible right now. Say you don't think it's clothes. Hand on the Bible. Genuine.
I don't have a Bible on me. Right
Yeah,
now.
me too. I don't have.
Okay,
one
so
on
put
me.
it on God, both of you. Put it
Okay,
on
you-
God that you
oh,
think he's
so
not
If you,
saying
if you
that.
actually know that you can't use God's name in vain.
Yeah, I
so
don't put.
What is it?
anything on
What does it
both.
mean to use God's name in vain?
using his name to prove a point, even more than that.
No, that's not
And
what
it-
God's
and
name
the
in
Bible
vain
says,
means.
In the Bible it says, "Let your no mean no, and let your yes mean yes." So
Okay, so then
I'm
you
telling you.
have to be truthful, right?
yeah.
Okay,
I'm
so
being truthful.
so
It could be
so you
clue.
are being
It could be
truthful right now.
clue.
Yeah.
So if God were right in front of me, right in front of you, you'd be saying that to him. You would
I
say
said,
that
yeah,
to
this-
Jesus. You
it's-
would tell
it's- I
you would
was-
tell Jesus right now that you think that.
I say, Jesus, he could have possibly meant clue. Clue with an accent.
Okay, I'm gonna kick you because you're a dishonest. Go fuck yourself. Are you gonna say the same thing? Are you gonna keep saying that bullshit?
I wouldn't
I'm
even-
seriously done dealing with this bullshit. You guys both know this is stupid shit. And by the way, both of you, if you're religion's true are literally going to go directly to Jesus, and you're going to get slapped in the face for that stupid shit. Because you
Jesus
guys are
wouldn't
both
do that.
liars. Both
You're
of
a
you are
dumbass.
liars. You
Jesus
know
wouldn't
he's saying
actually do
this.
that.
You know he's saying clothes in that scenario. You obviously know that. Why are you acting like this? Why are you being dishonest? Because you know this makes him look so horrible. You know that it makes him look so bad that you couldn't possibly support him given that this is true. But you're willing to overlook these things because of the fact that it makes you guys look bad if you're willing to acknowledge it. Because you guys are dishonest pieces of shit, and you have to do it anyway to defend Trump.
I mean, do you really expect me to predict the next word he's gonna say? Like,
No,
what, like, what the
I
fuck?
expect you to be a genuine person and to acknowledge that in that scenario, he's saying no clothes on. You know it. Every single person knows this, okay? No one in general disputes this. This is something unequivocally accepted, okay?
He could have said either.
There's
so.
like 2% of the population disputes this, okay? It's the most absurd thing. Clearly in this scenario, he's saying no clothes on. Any genuine person, any honest person will acknowledge that. You can say that you don't think it's a big deal. You can say that you overlook it, which is a disgusting, horrible thing to say.
Well, I'm
But
not
that
saying
still
that,
acknowledges
so.
the reality that he said it.
Okay, I mean, I don't really know what you're crashing out for, but
This isn't a
like I
crash
was-
out. This is just, I'm so sick of people denying reality, of not acknowledging the truth. Like, come on, bro. This is blatantly true. Why are you disputing reality? What do you get out of disputing reality?
I mean, I'm not actually. I'm just saying he could have said either. So like,
What do you think? Do you actually think he would have said clue in that scenario? Really? It doesn't even sound like that. Clo and clue have different pronunciations.
his O, what he didn't really say his O that long though. So
I'll
he
play it one more
could've-
time. You guys are so annoying, dude. Like, actually, genuinely the most insufferable people on the planet. Like, I genuinely don't know how you listen to that and you come up with that conclusion. It's crazy.
Inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything
doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody
Kla.
Yeah. So what do you think he stopped for?
okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Or I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting.
know
I
I'm
want to
not
make
the
sure
only
that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay?
The
Wait,
dressing.
play that. Play
They're
that
getting
clip one more
dressed.
time.
Inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes.
Yeah, I kind of hear a you in it.
Do you see how these people are so dishonest? Like, I feel like he's purposefully doing that to rage bait me. Like, you know what I mean? I genuinely, I don't believe that they're that dishonest. Like, there's no way. You have to literally, like, that dumb. You are that dishonest. There's no way that you're that dumb. That is the most naive statement I've ever heard in my life, dude. I can't do that. These people are so ridiculous.